Hello, friends. Today I'm going to share a story, an unforgettable lesson in happiness. Once upon a time, there was a man who was not only blessed with a great amount of health but also led a happy life with his family in the village. A man of friendly disposition, he stood like a rock, always willing to share the joy and sorrows of the people of his village. Needless to say, he was much loved by one and all in the village. While life moved on smoothly, suddenly, for some reason, he began to feel forlorn and dejected. There was no apparent cause of his unhappiness, but he could not shake off this feeling of despondency. Gradually, his situation worsened to such an extent that he stopped speaking to everyone. Slipping deeper into depression, he isolated himself from the world and spent most of his time in solitude. His deteriorating condition naturally becomes a matter of great concern for his family and the villagers. His wife and sons asked him the reason for his gloom, but the man was clueless about it, hence was unable to give them a reply. But what really worried everyone and became a matter of grave concern was that his despondency was growing with each passing day. Meanwhile, an ascetic who was passing by the village one day was impressed by the serenity the place exuded and decided to pitch his tent on the outskirts of the village. This ascetic was a great psychologist and adept at solving any problem in his own unusual way. The methods he employed to solve these problems were often unconventional, and people usually found it difficult to comprehend them. But that hardly mattered. What was important was that he could effortlessly treat any malaise, and within no time he had become a revered figure among the villagers. Some of them felt that when the ascetic had successfully treated so many people, then why not get the rich man treated by him for his depression? The villagers went to the rich man and advised him to seek the ascetic help to cure him for his illness. Now, I'm sure everyone is familiar with the adage, a drowning man will clutch even at a straw to save himself. Likewise, the rich man, nourishing a ray of hope in his heart, instantly agreed to meet the ascetic and left to meet him on the outskirts of his village. The moment he saw the ascetic, the rich man fell at his feet and pleaded with him to pull him out of his endless spell of depression and help him return to his old cheerful self. The ascetic attentively and calmly listened to all that the rich man had to say. He also gazed deep into his eyes to gaze the rich man's personality. After the rich man has finished speaking, the ascetic thought for a while and then, in a calm and reassuring tone, told him, I can definitely help you regain your happiness, but for that you will have to donate some of your wealth. So tell me, how much wealth are you willing to give away to attain happiness? The rich man promptly replied, O wise man, if you help me regain my happiness, then I will do anything you say. I am ready to donate 10,000 gold coins. The ascetic scoffed at his answer and said, That is hardly anything. Do you expect to regain your happiness at such a low price? After thinking for a while, the rich man made another offer. All right, I'll donate 10,000 gold coins along with a small pouch filled with diamonds and jewelry. Adopting a serious tone now, the ascetic replied, It seems that you do not really value your happiness. This amount will not suffice. I can fill your life with happiness once again, but only on one condition. You will have to agree to donate your entire wealth. Desperate to cure himself from his malaise, the rich man thought, "What will I do all the wealth if there is no happiness in my life?" Accepting the ascetic terms, he agreed to donate his entire wealth. "Please help me, O wise man, where and to whom I will have to donate my entire wealth?" he asked. The ascetic laughed and replied, "What kind of question is that? You have to give it to me, of course. Put your entire wealth in a sack and place it at my feet tomorrow morning. I will then instantly cure you, and you will once again brim with happiness." According to the deal, the next day the rich man collected all his wealth and valuables in a sack and went to the ascent. Handing over the sack to him, the rich man requested, "O wise man, I have donated all my wealth to you as promised. It is your turn now to make me happy." The ascetic, with a gleam in his eyes, smiled enigmatically at the rich man, and before the man could comprehend what was happening, the ascetic lifted the sack, swung it on his back, and began running at great speed. Seeing this, the rich man stood rooted to the spot for a moment, too stunned to react. Momentarily dazed, his brain had stopped functioning when he realized he had been conned. But he quickly gathered his wits and, shouting at the top of his voice, began chasing the ascetic. But by now the ascetic was far ahead of him and had begun running towards the forest, which was far from the village. The rich man's condition was pitiable. He had never even walked a short distance before. He alone ran the long distance to the forest outside the village. He was not only getting on in years, but the sedentary lifestyle he had led so far had also taken its toll on his health. He had hardly run a few yards when he began panting heavy, gasping for breath, but he could not give up the chase. After all, it was a question of his life saving. When he could not despairing before his eyes, it was his determination to get all his wealth back that was propelling him forward, and he continued chasing the ascetic. However, the slow pace of man was no match for the lightning speed of the young ascetic. Sprinting nimbly ahead, the ascetic had already reached the dense jungle. Although he was trailing far behind, the rich man had not yet given up the chase. The ascetic knew that the rich man would not give up his entire life's earnings so easily. He decided that now it was time for the cat and mouse game to end. Dropping the sack containing the rich man's wealth on the ground, the ascetic hid behind a tree, gasping for breath. The man soon reached the spot where the ascetic had dropped the sack. A wave of relief washed over him, and seeing it lying there, he picked it up instantly and checked it contained all the wealth. It was intact. Elated beyond measure, he now looked around for the ascetic. Why did he drop the sack after making me run so much? He wondered. Anyhow, I have got my wealth back. What have I got to do with the ascetic now? He thought, and holding the wealth close to his chest, the rich man thanked God. All this while, the ascetic, who was hiding behind the tree, now spoke in a loud, reverberating voice. "Are you happy now?" Startled, the man quickly regained his composure and simply replied, "Yes." Now the ascetic, adopting a theoretical tone, said, "Run along with your sack now. Otherwise, I'll snatch it from you and take it off again. And remember, if you became despondent again, then I assure you, your wealth will be gone forever. So now tell me, will you ever feel dejected again?" he demanded. The rich man replied, "Definitely not. There is no question of that." Staying true to his promise, the rich man never entered gloomy thoughts. For the rest of his life, he had indeed learned his lesson the hard way. Moral of the story: What was the secret of happiness that the rich man had found again? This is precisely what you must understand. He always had wealth, but in spite of it, had been feeling depressed for a long time. However, when the ascetic snatched away his life's earning, the same wealth now became the source of his happiness. Our attitude in life is similar to that of the rich man. We do not value what we possess, whether it is a person or an object, but the minute that person or object, whether it is TV, electricity, car, wife, parents, or a friend is snatched away from us, its absence not only makes us realize its value, but we also begin to miss it. In fact, we have the same attitude towards our physical self too. We take all our organs for granted. We are not even aware of the existence or importance of an organ until it malfunctions. Indeed, it takes a headache or a fractured leg to realize we have a head and legs. Indeed, this is the state of our unconsciousness, and this precisely is the root cause of all our sorrows and misfortunes. Most people feel that whatever they possess is worthless, but the moment they lose it, that same object becomes their most priceless treasure. But the wise man is the one who, instead of being driven by the desire for something new, first enjoys what he has to the fullest, cherishing and nourishing it. Thank you.